And I don't know much. I'm pretty awful figures, but I went down to the local electronics shop in Wimbledon, Maplin, it was, and started to buy things, and it didn't all go straight forward. I think. And a funny term, and they must have seen me as day, I don't know what happened, but I didn't like it. I was frightened, and that's how I'm frightening my central name. So I can't really look at that. But he saw me. I'm very close to it, but I'm not like the animals there before. I'm different. This is awful. This is all a mess. And you know, so I left this here in my mind to punish people. Yeah. Because I saw a good person saw a scar. That was interesting. It's a punishment. So that was the idea, but it didn't work so well because I got attacked. And well, that's the trouble. And well, you know, as I said that he said you shouldn't have had to do that because he said I walked through a wall. Well, I wasn't aware of it because I hadn't seen it. You know, the joke is normally if you don't see a waterfall, walk into it. I walk through it because I don't know it's there. Which is a joke. That could be disproved, but that's what I do. Because if it's something of being fourth dimension rather than 3 dimensions, I'm not quite sure how it works. But so I'm not sure. But it's not the fourth dimension. Not fourth dimension time. First time is the same, and that's different. And so if I don't see things, I can walk through them. That's a real problem. And I don't see it. Sometimes I walk through things intentionally, but I don't really understand it because I get a map where I am and I have to follow the map, and I don't know how it works. But things can go wrong, and so I'm not really here. I don't know where I am, but that's what it is. And, I do all that because I'm pushing my blends on. But and I did say to the man, you know, time travel is not really time travel. You actually change time, which is a different thing. You see, it's like a little dimple in time. Dimples, for example, of course how it works. But it's in the dimple, we can change the dimple and go back through time. But it's not the same for going through time, we actually change time. Because that dimple, the surface of the dimple is where you are. And change things and come back to see. Now, I don't have to jump, I'm not terrible. I'm actually a piece of machinery. And this ability I have of all the other things is part of my natural ability. So I met people who made me, that's what I said. It's a bit confusing because they can't switch it off very proud of me. So that's what I was saying. And that's very confusing. And so when you hear the human beings, you think you're human. I'm not. And people find it confusing. When I turn into an alien, they're really upset. That upsets them. Very fine. They're like being sick and run away, which is what happens. And if they see me at all, it's unpleasant. Now, Edith rang me up today. Now I can't remember exactly what happened because I think she was quite dead, but we found her, and we gave her a tent to live in, which was quite comfortable, and I can't remember what happened, but she rang me this afternoon from where I was at Wembley Bar, and said she was in a room with the lights and colours all around, and a little frightened. And she said, nice people came rubbed all over. Which is actually when you rub somebody over like that, it's called stroking, which it releases a hormone which makes you feel good. And I offered that to this woman from that's treated women in Charles forever. It's very pleasant. Rub all over. And naked person rub all over. It's called massage normally, but usually can, it will hurt, but it doesn't do the sex organs. Not too much. Not completely, not inside, but the sex intercourse does not have that effect, but rub all over. And it quiets you down because the skin reflexes to release a hormone into the blood which changes versus temperament feels, makes them feel good. And of course, it's what people do to each other when they hug each other. That's what it is. It's hugging with a vengeance. And so some parts of the body are more sensitive than others. People know that. And people like it. People like being stroked. But I normally if I'm a member of the opposite sex, otherwise it doesn't work. Children possibly, but also it has to be a member of the opposite sex. And if the person is asleep, it does still works because the hormone is still released under anaesthetic of a person asleep. So it can be used under anaesthetic, but it can't from there. And it's got good stroking therapy. It's a good idea. Do it to your friends. And light them in, give their clothes off, rub all over. They like it. Probably a female. If you're male, female and so on. So male, female, it's quite nice. But most it's quite pleasant. And of course you can, it's no sex organ as well, if you're friendly. So that's right. That's not allowed to, but they can. That's what it is. All over the body. Face, breasts, tummy, bottom, side. And of course the sex organs. So be careful with those. And more sensitive. Sex organs are more sensitive, that wasn't known. So that's what she's getting. And that calmed her down. She did confess to me she was in prison for shoplifting, fair judging, and other crimes. I think armed robbery as well, and all sorts of things. So she was a very bad woman, and she's been treated because she was very disappointed when communism fell. She lost her job. She went over here to Britain as an Olympian and came back. And that's what it did to her. Stole everything. She had tied her up, naked, everything. It was awful. And that's the treatment. And so she cheated her. And that's what people do. Christians are awful people. You know? They cheat people, and because they didn't like communists very much. And she was the top person in her own country until it fell. And now we're now hungry as well. Everybody's starving. But now I don't know where she is, but that's what she's in prison. And it may be on board one of these starships I was telling you about, I'm not sure. She may not be on the planet Earth, but I don't know. I'm not sure. But, the indication that she's in rights, a room full of lights and calms her down, is actually somewhere else. I don't know, because that's a description of lights, or like that. So she could be there. And it probably is a prison rather than a little place where she will eventually come out of this terror she's in, upset, because it changes her mind. And I think these technology, the people who, this is especially hospitalship actually, people who use them can actually repair the brain. And there's two ways to do it. You could just take it out and put an electronic one in, or you could rebuild it biologically, and it's better for a human being. And that's advanced technology, but I don't know what's happening to her. And I think if she stays there, she'll get a uniform and she'll become a member of the civilization I come from. But she'll still be a human being, good brain, and so what is that? And she could then come through if she wants to, because they have this beaming. You've had a beam ships where if we beam and beam up Scotty was like that, and then go down here somehow, and she could be with me if she wants to. However, but she's no choice. She said, well, the rate one wants choice, there's no choice. And the other lady I met, she did ask me to, my husband but said, well, you can marry me, but you'll be a second wife, because first one's still alive. Still my wife, but as a Muslim can marry one mum. But her religion doesn't allow it, and she said, if she's pregnant, well, she could be, that's serious for her religion, so I thought it was it's serious. And she won't come in, but she has raised. When she came down, I gave her that therapy. I offered it again, but it got me down. And she also confessed to shoplifting and fair judging. Oh God, suffer with that. Because that's what she did to survive. Because she had a poverty starve, but nobody would help her. So she began to hate. And apparently she has a father here that is able to help her. Sorry, I don't know what's happening. It's a strange story. But it's 1991, I mean, I look it up after the time. And that's how it is. I used to sound far over years. I'm quite sure. it's slobber in my throat. You can choke on slobber, you need a drink of water. And I've got no money till Monday. According to my computer, they could generate money putting my account, but not a good idea. Because we have gold, you know, which we can store somebody in there, therefore give us money. But I think that's how I got my pension. Though you have stopped it yesterday. And it was a purchase risk, and there was a private in for everyone. And it was actually good done through my employer. They didn't actually give me a pension, it's just I bought one. It was done through the system, and so I was told. To cash lump sum which was generated by somebody, and maybe a gold bar, so I can't remember. But I was hoping to buy another one, they wouldn't get me. But it is. My pension is Attica was not really enough, and you don't like it, you know. People fight over money, it's very bad. And I found this huge conspiracy going on. They wanted my money, and I think they're going to chop my brain out, fully numb, mental home or Dolphin or something, and take all my money. But that was the scheme, and that's the scam. Is what the money carriers were doing, and with other people. Go to the mental hospitals, and people are all stealing money, and doctors and people all stealing money, and that's what psychiatrists got to help you to get your money stolen. So that was the system, and not everybody suffers from that, but that's a problem. And of course, having your money stolen makes you aware that it's possible. It's very easy to steal money. I wasn't aware that people would steal my money, you know. Well, because I'm honest and find somebody who's got £1 million, well, I don't try and steal it. It's his money. I won't be able to, but you know, you don't think that. But having had my money stolen, I am aware of it, and I think that's the Silex idea. Make people an idea of money. It's a very cruel man, but a lot of them died. You know, coming out of your brain out, because if you had it, they'll die. So get rid of them. That's a nasty attitude. You know. I think the British Royal Family is similar. Can't be beheaded is one of the experience. Never another one. Like it. Death. Divine experience, and that's what they do. They persuade somebody to get out of the can. It's rather sad, really. People do go for it, you know. People have plans for a better society with no money, but royalty offered to that. So you don't need people either. Drop your brain out. And you know, they sold these women as a game. They think I don't know who it was that had this idea, but it was a movement going on, and that's what they did. There were people who thought it was a good idea to have their brain out, and they can persuade people to do it. You know, Hitler was destroyed by people going around Germany persuading them to have their brain out, but you know, great corporation, and it's very easy to do it. And it's right, because the person is never there. You know, having a brain dead person to sleep is absolutely awful. It's no fun at all. They respond and they have babies, but not there. Don't talk to them, anything. Girls are doing like that, don't talk. But you know, when you're in university, they do talk. But I didn't notice anything about me. They're quite friendly. I didn't notice it, and so I thought nothing of it. But so they turned against me, and you see, it's the vicar doesn't like in Scar. They got these fixed ideas that people in Scar are criminals, and it wasn't put there because I was a criminal, because I didn't believe their silly stories, silly religion, and of course that cost them money. So they want to get rid of me, and even the vicar wants to get rid of me. You know, just bump him off. I don't know what's happened at all. So I'm still here. Probably the vicar's still there. There's still services and things, but I know what's going on beyond me. But so that's what's happening. She may be in a therapy hospital in Hungary. I think it's more likely the meter soothing room, which is used in Hungary and Slovenia. It's different from here. And I know the psychiatrist is treating her, but I spoke to her. She's in Vienna, and it's a sort of prison, but it's actually a therapeutic prison, which most of them are now, because criminals are sick. It's a sickness. and in some cases incurable. And she has things wrong with her head. I don't know, probably there could be cysts in the brain, or a nematode worm going in the vacuole brain, and you want to the technique. I know how to do it. I'm doing medicine. There are 4 ventricles in the brain, one there, and they know where they are, and that's usually where the cyst goes. It's a little network where get off a cat or a dog or some animals, and will get in your body. It goes to the mouth, and once it gets in, if you do this, it destroys it. And it gets the children play with cats, and that's what I get. And eat it with very fond of dogs and cats. So that's what happens. So you've probably got a cyst in the brain. It's this thing, and it's got in the ventricle, and in the ventricle it swells up, and it destroys the personality. The person goes mad and stupid. Pretty awful. But it's easy to cure. You get a 2mm syringe with a syringe and poke it into there. Just there. See there. And into the ventricle, which you can see on X-ray, or just from measurement, and you suck it out, and the worm, which is it's just fluid sac. The fluid goes in, the worm goes inside out and goes into the syringe, and you can take it out. And then there's a little furry thing, that's what it is, and the person instantly recovers, instantly. And that's what you do that. And you get other interest in the brain too. You like liver flukes, you get brain flukes as well. And it's a worm. You just have to ingest it. I had a worm coming out here, where it came from, but it's a worm. And when they took it out, things changed. They pulled it out, anybody do. And it's like that. It's all around the brain, all over the place. There's all sorts of sizes in the head. That's what it was. And it was irritating me. And then of course you can have a tumour which is non-malignant, or a piece of metal in the head. All sorts of things all cause disturbance of the brain. And also, if the white matter inside the brain is actually controlling the signals going around, and the actual process is in the cerebrum, but the mind is not there at all. It's somewhere in there, and the mind is confused when the white matter is confused, and the connections go wrong. When they connect up again, which they usually do, it's all over the place, and the brain and the mind can sort it out for a while, and all confused. And if the wires are cut, these white matters are cut, the person experiences thoughts disappearing, and they're not aware of it most of the time. But then you send a signal, the message by the exchange disappears. And you know the brain knows, because it's expecting a signal somewhere. It tells it so they're dead there again. Because it can't, the person goes mad. It hurts. People have brain damage because the actual mental processing is actually moving limbs in the head. If you look at a lancet from you were descended from, there's bristles going out, all go like that, just doing things like that, thinking. And something else was right. And the muscles in the head move. You can't feel them, but they're not so big. In childhood, these expression changes, and that's the muscles in the head. And those expressions all over the place are actually thoughts, and you can tell the person's thoughts thinking by the muscle contractions. And it's all known as frontal activity. And all the cancer do is to generalise it and stop that movement. And normal children, when they become adults, that movement is stopped at the fondness. But damage in the brain stops that and causes expressions. And you can see it. Now it's actually muscles in the head moving. You're thinking it's muscles in the head moving. And so that's what it is. And we're aware of our thoughts, but we don't know. Well, we have no idea what it is, that what it is. And there's also in this system, there's also a visual system, so we're able to see things which we haven't thoughts. And they're based on data that's come previously. So we're actually processing data. And we're actually exploring the little world around us that is not there anymore. It's in the mind, which is a database, and these muscles of the head are actually the body moving things. And the muscles replicate the spine several copies, and each segment is a copy of the spine. And every time you do a thought, you actually go all over the place, and it can And there's also other registers in the front which store positions, and things, so the process can go recursion can occur, backtrack can go. And the doctors damage these parts of the brain, and the effect is to cause problems with backtracking and memory loss, all sorts of things. It's no bloody good at all. And they see a person thinking and so forth, but it's an illness, no, it isn't the person's reasoning. And I did actually damage my brain the other day, but fortunately the space aliens have put it back, even if I'm aliens, my brain looks like a human being, what it's made of, but they've done that. And it's come back again, but it's actually very confusing. They think they know what they're doing, they don't. And they see a person reasoning, I think he's ill, And for us, let's chop it out. Until they're not going to think they think Russell's not. Well, the person's an idiot after us. It's not a sensible thing to do. Other people, I think Brady had a tumour in his head which caused him terrible things, and it's incurable by what they did to him. And so it is. Mari Hindley also had a tumour in her head. She did have an operation for it, and she's better. But of course, unfortunately, she can only get left out if the medicines agree, and that's unpleasant. It's a new, and in psychiatry has changed. I think the research they did with the CT scanner on patients, screening them, they found it. Said everyone had something wrong with them. And it's no different. And so should be treated. So she's still alive, but she's a criminal, and she hates. She also has brain damage, and she's very upset at what they did to her in England. And basically, the person who did it, and the Pope is indirectly responsible. They're all criminals, they're murderers, basically terrible people. And you see, they thought communism was a threat to their income. That's what it was. And the high and mightiest country, the kings and queens, they all the same. It's a threat to their income, so what it is. Nothing wrong with it. Works very well. But I don't like it. They criticise him, so it's a social system that works. And he's in a good position in that. And because it destroyed itself, because they went to war, they made a mistake going to war with a stronger enemy. That's what they made, a mistake they made. And well, I can see it, but it did work. But there does have to be the other thing that they're missing out with the communist system is the control of scarce resources and the way that distribution of wealth. They had distribution centres which were not properly organised. It's better to have, and the traders would give their goods to their friends rather than trade them themselves and make money. But the finance, the money is difficult because it allows people to accumulate money, but it is a better system. And money has to be. We tried to do without money for a while. It worked. I was in a place in Russia where they did without money, and it was much better. You worked for nothing, and you got accommodation, food, and the other things of life, which is not much more. To us, the work was the thing. It was what you might call child university work, which we did interesting things. But that was what it was. They don't like people being interested because that's communism. It is a better system, I think so. And well, it won't happen, but I'd like to see it again. And of course, because the people who want money, because they're corrupted by the Pope, because the Pope likes it. Pope 6 way. It's the Roman system, money. And cheap, the Roman system has slaves. I think the Pope wants that. He's a Roman, and we don't like him. And as far as I'm concerned, these people who do this are slaves, and you make money and so on, buy and sell people, and all the rest of it. The criminals, as far as I'm concerned. But I think Tesla, when he was fresh, wanted to give his machine away, but they wouldn't have it. They didn't understand it. Well, they pretend they don't understand. But as I say, they say the number of cells of those should be 3, the normal number, but it isn't. It's more than that. It's the 3 is the basic unit, but it's more than that. So they know what to do. And perhaps birds have more segments, and so they can see ways through other people can't. And that's what they are, people who have birds. But they do us to regard their position. But other people are clever, and professor we want a democracy with equal opportunity. I wouldn't get it because they're pushing me face, but because they just saw me, they saw me as a danger, a threat. Because of course it was. That's what they did. So it's around British businesses because there's a Nazi who'll be a threat. And it's interesting. You see, I see that's what happened. It's very strange because I think they were trying to show the church migration from the soul, what it was. But it's all rubbish. So I'm confused. You know, that's what they confuse people. They talk about Chris 1, Chris 2. It's all rubbish. All Chris. You know, it is a shotgun club. That's Chris as well. And of course, that's how it is. And I asked it up. And this religion is nasty. They want to prove the existence of life after death, of course, which is not true. Of course, the first people attack me want to believe they're immortal, want to know they are, so they try to look for souls. Unfortunately, and even they kill people to see at what point death occurs, time where the soul is. It's actually sick, you know. You're really so obsessed with death that they really don't enjoy life very much, and they won't accept it when they die. They'll stop now. Get on with your life first. They did say that. Sad one.